All right, let's talk about elevations this week. Um, to start with, let's go to our first floor plan. And if your elevation markers are not showing up, go to your visibility graphics and turn on elevations so that the markers will show up. Okay, and we want to, you may have to zoom out a little bit to find them. They might be outside of your crop region, so you may want to turn that on so you can see. You may have to go, do not crop view or crop view, whichever one um, it goes. But we want to pull these in and we'll grab the box and drag the box, okay? And get those kind of centered around the house. And then click on the triangle. And that shows you your view plane and the depth of view. And you want to check all four of these to make sure your view plane here is outside the walls of the house, of course. And then the depth of view goes, which will be this box here. So you want to drag the ends kind of in and out to where you can see, of course, the porch and the garage here. But the depth of it is what we want to look at for each of them. So think about in your elevation how far into the house you want to see. And so here with our left elevation, we want to be able to see the ridge of the rear porch. So that determines how deep that one goes. With this one on the right, we want to be able to see the ridge of the garage area. And beyond that, it doesn't matter because this part of the roof is actually lower than the right part of the roof, okay? If we had a chimney in this project, you'd want to make sure that your elevations all cover that chimney, of course. Um, the north elevation wants to cover the ridge of both of the roofs, and then the south elevation, the same thing. We want to go back until we've got both of the ridges covered. Okay, and that should get the markers set up for your elevations. So now let's go and look at one here. Now I've kind of toyed with this, and I'll print a test copy of this sheet while I'm in the lab today. But what I went back and edited my roof family and added the asphalt shingle hatch pattern to it. Because I played with, just doing a piece of it with a fill region to see how it looks. And I didn't really like the way that it looked. I don't know, it just didn't look too good to me at the time. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the whole region. But what I did is I went ahead and added the shingle pattern, the shingle foreground pattern, um, to the asphalt shingle material type. Okay, and I went ahead and colored it as black. And I'll print a copy today and see how it looks. We may have, I don't know, we may take that back out. We may scale it something. I don't know. I'll look at that and see. Okay. And in the same way with our stone on the front, excuse me, our stone on the front here, we may have to play with the scale for that hatch pattern and see how it looks also. Okay. Um, I gave you a shingle file this week, or a shutter this week that you can put on. And you'll notice on your drawings, there's a head across the top of the windows here. And I found some models that we could put in, but the models are all wall-based. And so that means that they're on the surface of the wall. And there's not a good way to deal with the window trim and the actual clapboard siding. So I'm making an executive decision to get rid of the crosshead over the front two windows. I thought about maybe just adding it to the drawing sheet, but I said, at this point in our game, we're just going to take that out. Okay, just executive decision on my part. So no crosshead over the front two windows, but we are adding the shutters. Okay, and in case you're wondering, Fipon, the company that makes these kinds of things, they have lots of these models available to download, but I just pulled this one in, I think from Revit City. It works fine for what we're doing, okay? All right. Um, I, I heard a strange beep, and I'm wondering what that was. Okay, we're still running. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna set up a view graphics for a view template for all of our elevations. So let's do that first. And we'll go straight to manage because there's already an architectural elevation view template set up. And we'll make some of these changes. Quarter inch normal fine, okay. Visibility and graphics. Basically, I selected all and turned all of them off. And then I came back and I turned on just the things that I want to show. So I got columns, detail items, doors, floors, so that the porch floors will show up, okay. Generic models, so my extrusions will show up. I'm turning on light fixtures because we're going to add wall lighting fixtures later. Lines. I left raster images on in case we needed that for our hatch patterns. I'm not too sure about that, but I left it on. Roofs, of course. Structural foundations, I edited that. And so I added the line type here for the graphics, and I hid the surface patterns. I unchecked the visible boxes, okay? And that turns off the concrete pattern on the concrete walls. And there's, okay, and I left, let's see, structural framing on, left walls and windows on. Annotation categories did the same thing. I turned everything off, turned back on dimensions, generic annotations, and text notes, okay? Now I made all those changes. Of course, you're going to save it with an OK. Discipline here should be architecture. Far clipping is going to go clip without line. And that will take care of all of that. And then you'll OK that. Now, we're not applying it yet because we want to do a few things first. And we're going to set these views up very similar to what the drawing sheets that you have show, okay? So you got notes, different things you're pulling in, your different notes. Okay, the roof slope symbol here is in the files for you, roof slope annotation. And you'll have to adjust the slope on the end of it here, okay? And then where it goes on the roof, I just did a fill region, or a masking region, sorry, around each of them so that it stands out against the roof pattern back there, okay? Now then, let's see, grade. I drew my grade line in, and I used a wide detail line. And this will show up better for you if you turn your thin lines off while you're drawing it or working on it. Then you can turn it back on. That'd be fine. But I drew that in, and it goes all the way across the front of the house here, okay? And that's kind of pretty much everything, okay? Now, once you get your notes in and dimensions, check it out, make sure it all looks good, okay? If it's looking kind of wonky to start with, go ahead and change your view scale to 1/4 inch, equals 1 foot, okay? Now, let's go to the north elevation. Okay, very similar things, and if it helps you, you can copy these from one view to another. You can just select it and then Control C to copy, go to where you want to paste it and Control V. If you try to copy more than one note at a time, it joins them as a group and it makes it more difficult to copy, to edit it. So